Welcome to a new episode of BIMvoice. Today's guest is Hasan, who is a project and BIM manager at Integrated BIM. He is also a YouTuber. Hello, Hasan. How are you doing?
Hi, Petru. I'm doing fine. So thank you for inviting, and I'm really excited to have a talk. I think it will be an interesting talk because two YouTubers talking about some topics on BIM. It's really exciting.
Yeah, that's very cool. Thank you for coming. Do you have a presentation that you would like to share and start talking about this?
Yes, I do have actually prepared something prior to the meeting. So just to give a bit more structure on it. So if you want, we can jump into that, or
After you quickly present yourself, please. Sorry about this. Please introduce yourself.
But I do have that in my presentation as well.
Okay, then do it there.
Yeah, because it will be twice otherwise. It will be twice otherwise, you know?
Yeah.
No problem. Okay. So I will share my screen then. Okay. Today I will be talking a little bit about what integrated BIM does and what we are performing behind the scenes and what kind of achievements we are doing with integrated BIM. And obviously I will just want to give you a kind of a snapshot of the content that I will be talking, some few projects we have been working on. And these are actually on purpose. We have been working on hundreds of projects. So these projects are just some of them on purpose that I have chosen. For example, the one on the top left corner is a manufacturing project. On the bottom left corner is manufacturing assembly, how we are doing that. And on the right-hand side, it's a multidisciplinary model where we coordinate and collaborate all the trades. So, but before that, I'm not like a kind of a random person who talks about BIM and what came to your channel. So it's actually, I do have also a YouTube channel. We are almost close to the 2,000 subscribers as well. It's a new channel. I think it was, yeah. So it was about like last year, March we started. I think it was kind of a few months before you got started as well into the YouTube world. It's really exciting. So, and it's really, I mean, seeing these numbers growing is really, like achievement for us because there's a lot of effort goes behind the scenes for that.
Well,
and
I know.
if I'm also it's a lot of effort is going there. Yeah, I mean, we do have a team obviously that helps me all the time with all the work because it's incredible amount of workload, and I'm glad to see that people are appreciating it. Also, I'm very active in LinkedIn, so if you want to connect, so this is my LinkedIn. Also, these are certificates. Some of them, I do have quite a lot of them as well, but I didn't have the time to update those pieces. I constantly try to take new accreditation and new, courses or whatever there's in the industry to improve my education and knowledge. So obviously day to day, what I do work at Integrated BIM. And integrated BIM is more about providing services, consultancy. It starts with BIM modeling. It goes, there's a project and BIM management. We also do construction simulation and BIM implementation. So these are like very much one-stop for BIM services. Mainly people are coming to us because in the industry, there's so much technology now, especially since 5 years from the lately, we have lots of technologies coming in and lots of startup companies bringing some automations and some new tools. And it's very hard to find the right tools as well as find the right processes, workflow to achieve the success in the projects as well, high return on investment. That's what we are doing. So they're coming to us. We are preparing them A to Z from everything. And lately, we also launched our marketing because we have been so much into marketing since this 1 year. And our marketing team has so much expertise now in the construction industry, and they're working hand in hand with project managers and architects and so forth. So we decided to launch a sub company. I'm founder of both companies. So AEC Influence was specifically dedicated to marketing services for the construction industry. So we provide our experience and even like a few things, like when you say BIM, it's very hard to explain BIM. What does it mean? What kind of value it brings, the value proposition to a marketing specialist? They don't understand. But our marketing specialists pass through courses, work with us for a year and understanding all these, like little things. And we know what architect needs because we work with architects. We know what contractor needs. We know what developer needs. And also, and then we are providing these experience to the marketing team to give the right content and the right approach. So I think it is getting so far very well as well on this side. So enough with marketing. Let's go through the learning material. So as I said, there are some.
Sorry for jumping in. I want to interrupt you here and ask you something else. Before here, how did you get here? What is your background? How did you get to this point?
Okay, that's a good question. So I say a little bit like autobiography here. So I jumped into the construction industry as an architectural technologist and construction manager program. I went there in Denmark about over 10 years ago. And when I went there, I learned about the BIM and I became very much enthusiastic on BIM. So when I became like a BIM enthusiast, I started tutoring and helping people. And then when I went to especially Erasmus in Malta, I saw that the Malta is so much not using BIM. It was like all in 2D and traditional workflows. So it was very good chance for me to introduce all these, and I became popular. And I was working with Autodesk reseller, learning more about the tools, taking the exams, training like professionals all around, like companies who want to implement BIM. I was helping all those, and I was working with a quite multidisciplinary large-scale company who is delivering hospitality projects over 100 million or sometimes even 500 million Corinthia projects. It's actually working under the Corinthia Group, which is a 5-star hotel chain. Came from Malta. So when I was like working there and implementing BIM, and I was like getting more and more knowledge, so I was like saying, okay, I might be able to because I was very active in different forums, different communication platforms. I was helping other people voluntarily. So there were like few requests coming in, like to help them. And they were like trying to collaborate with me as much as possible. So I got a lot of referrals, and I got to a little bit of the freelance world as well, doing a job on my own. So I've went obviously full time doing freelance, helping with different companies, consulting and getting the models, like one person basically delivering all these services. Then I decided to build a team that can deliver much better stuff. So I took a bit long on this one, but yeah, this is a kind of the journey that I proceeded.
That's very interesting. Not the most traditional path, but it's very nice. You started from somewhere and you built up on everything and you got here. Congratulations for that. I really like your journey.
Thank you very much. Obviously, the journey started, as I said, architecture, technology, and construction management. So it was more on the management and technology side. And then I studied, which I missed to say, when I went to Malta, I studied architecture, and I graduated Bachelor of Architecture from there. So, but I didn't want to go in this field because I was so much enthusiastic into BIM and project management. So I wanted to continue there. But it gave me so much understanding on the architects and the construction industry world, why the issues are arising and how to communicate with them. So it is like still helping me a lot to this day.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. Now I'll ask you one last question regarding your background, and after that you can go on full steam with your presentation.
Sure, go ahead.
You said you worked in Malta. Where are you from, and where do you live right now?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Actually, our entire team is remote, especially since the corona came. We decided to make directly everything remote because in Malta, one of the countries, one of the rare countries, I would say, maybe apart from the United States, a lot of multinational people. So I never felt myself there living many years as a foreigner. So it was more like I was part of Malta. So in Denmark, I loved Denmark. It was a lot of experience there and a bit of a different culture as well. But you always, like have the foreign language barrier. You have always, you feel yourself slightly more foreigner than in comparison to there are Danish people and you are foreigner. There's nothing wrong in this. So this is the normal thing. I understand that. But in Malta, it was more like an international level of collaboration. So that's why I prefer to stay there. One of the main reasons that of basically the culture and feeling that multinationality. So that was one of my, success able to bring people, because people wanted to work in Malta just because they love the island. They love, the summertime over there. They love all the Malta benefits bring with the climate and the attraction area and the touristic area things. So I was able to build the local team there. So I'm from actually Bulgaria. but I'm originally Turkish, so it's a little bit complicated. I lived in Turkey, Bulgaria, Denmark, Malta, and now I'm living for the last couple of months in Germany.
Okay. Do you plan to stay longer in Germany or is just temporary?
I think I will be staying here for the next year. I will be doing some local market works, and depending on that, how much I need to stay here. Depending on that, I mean, I will decide whether I should be able to move to another country to explore or go back to one of the countries I were.
Okay, awesome. Please go ahead.
All right, so I would like to go to a little bit education side of this one because I want to give something more to the audience who are like if you are watching this this video. So this part of the talk will be more about education and learning some things. So you know that in the industry we have lots of technology coming in, so it was penetrated a lot. Now we don't have a lot of technology coming in, and we do have new standards all the time coming in. The workflows all the time discussed by different professionals and experts in the field, and there is a huge management boom coming in because you need to manage all these data, information flow, and technology. So that's a little bit challenging, and the people don't understand that this actually everything is integrated, because if you don't choose the right tools, right technology, and then if you have the best standard, best workflow and management system, it will not work anyway. So if one of these fail, you will not have a really proper BIM and efficient BIM where you can get most return on investment. So people tend to miss all these main points of the BIM. And one of the things that people try to kick BIM in concept design. So they generally jump into concept design, they get the building design idea, they get all this information, and then they say, hey, I think we can do BIM, so get some savings on the building and or overall some cost savings. But people, again, I'm all the time repeating it, they don't understand that when you engage stakeholders, it's very difficult to change the perception and the contracts and all those, like workflow chain, supply chain, how you are really putting the project together. So the real thing that you need to bring it is better if you're doing the preparation and brief, but in the strategic definition, which is very little amount of people are really doing in the strategic definition, because they don't really want to invest in the consultants. I understand the reason, the risk involved and so forth, but they need to seek for advice and understand why really they need to get it in strategic definition. Just because if you have everything defined in a strategic definition, that BIM consultant can help you to achieve a right contracts, a right supply chain, so you don't have any pain points throughout the entire life cycle. So that's very important. Most of the time, designer delivers information to the owner, or delivers information to the project manager or other stakeholders based on their preference or based on their needs. So I saw, obviously I don't have this image here, I saw one image where they were like showing a polished 3D model and what is behind the scenes of the 3D model. It is like the render looks amazing, but actually the modeling work just doesn't work. It's just made to hold for that particular angle. So if you just look from a different angle, it's really a bad quality model or information. So that is a problem because owners are really not identifying the information need. What do they need? So that's really missing from the owners. They say, I want BIM most of the time, and I think that everyone knows and knows what BIM means, but everyone can interpret in different ways, put it to their own interest. Because when we work with the architects, obviously if they choose us as a consultant. If an architect chooses us as a consultant, we seek for their interest. We want to get most out of them for that particular stakeholder, because they're working with us and we want to give most return on investment to them. So again, the owner as well needs to define the right information they need. If they require more than what they need, problem here is that the risk and the budget goes up because you need more information than you actually need. If you are just understating it, then you're leaving it open-ended, so everyone can deliver whatever they think is right to enclose this project or hand over this project. So the main point over here, what I'm trying to say, you need to define a purpose. Most of the owners or architects or any other client that we have, they lack this answer. When we ask, what is the purpose? They say, oh, we want to save time. We want to save costs. We want to save conflicts. We want to save this. But there are so many things. Of course, we might cover potentially certain portion of all of them. But again, we need to define clearly with straight to the point, what is the purpose? Is the purpose getting the quality and keeping the budget and the time within the time frame that was envisaged? Or is it the cost that we are trying to lower as much as possible? So there should be clear a point exactly what is the purpose, and we need to work our energy around that purpose. Otherwise, it doesn't become tailored, it doesn't become custom a workflow, custom supply chain. So, and then it's again open-ended, you don't know where it goes. So, because there's so much information, right? So there's so much like different workflows, different suggestions, lots of people involved. You need to manage that. So if you have the right purpose, you can you can tick out all the right things, and then you can put things, and you obviously have to understand you need to understand how people are really thinking and how to manage the resources, because every resource will come with different experience and different mindset. You need to know how to put them in the process as well. So the people is a very important part of the entire process. So that's why I put the people in the middle, and all the other tools, standards, workflows, ideas around them. So this is very important to understand. And when we define the purpose, so there's lots of information going on, as we discussed, and all this information has to be managed. So if you don't manage that information, what happens in the end? That you don't become, satisfied with the end result, because you say, oh, we invested so much, but we are not getting the real return we are looking. Okay, it was a learning curve. In the next project, we will succeed a bit more. But if you do the same mistakes in the next project, it again repeats itself. So basically, you have to fail a lot, and there's a thin line between fail and success, which is the learning. So you need to fail few things, and then you need to learn and not to repeat the same mistakes in order to improve, to reach the success. So with us, over 10 years working with so many projects and so many individual stakeholders and prospects and so forth, we have failed so many times on multiple things that now we can say that, okay, we know what we are doing because we have did these things in a wrong way before. We tested different workflows. Some of them failed, some of them succeeded, and now we know why they have failed, why they succeeded. So we know that exactly what they need. So, and we constantly try to, whatever doesn't work, we try to learn and then try to build on top of it in order to make it to the success. So let me show you one of the projects of this one. So for example, you can see that on the bottom side, there is a render of that project, a VR, and on the top side, the real construction. But I don't want to really say the architecture or how the building looks. We are more looking at the enclosure. And I would like to actually show you, rather than the model and the render and so forth, I would like to show you the BIM side of it. So if I open the BIM side of it, what I want to show here is that we are doing manufacturing workflow with using Autodesk Revit. Here, again, our aim is not to promote Revit or any other software. It's about making people to understand that actually Revit there is an architecture side of it, structure side of it, and MEP side of it. But it can actually really boil down to find the right tool. For example, in this case, for us, the right tool was Revit, and to get it to the manufacturing level. And how do we really get to manufacturing level? You can see that we are actually assembling all these components with individual components. So there are loads of individual families involved in this. You can get even all the length, all the cut angles, everything for the manufacturing needs. So the guy in the shop can simply go here and say, wow, I can get all the information I need, and I can see how much it cuts because this is a stock length. So the length of this item is 144 because that is the stock length we are getting. So, and then you can see the angle cut from this side, and then there's another piece coming here. So this information is so useful for people especially at the shop. They know where this piece is really going and how the project is really working to identify a lot of queries. So there are lots of information here, but the problem is this: when you have multiple similar projects, the purpose here was, when we did this project, is not to do this level of detail and that level of information only for this project. We wanted to do it like parametric modeling, how we can create this kind of projects very quickly with set of standards, set of the prefabricated elements, and assemble them together like a Lego, and use already created Legos to slight modification to create new projects. And how can it be like so much efficient and without problems, and we can get bill of materials, bill of quantities right from the beginning of the project. So, and there are a few other things that I will be explaining on the way forward. And this way we was able to get all these data that I was like saying, and workflow items in the right quality and the right time. So if I go into the BIM 360, which I would like to show you here, where you can see, 1 second here.
If I can jump in 1 second.
Yeah.
What's happening if you export to IFC your model? I've seen you use Enscape to
Yes.
show that. What software does a manufacturer needs to use? Can you just export from Revit? It will export with the same amount of information, such that manufacturer can just use a free IFC viewer to read that information?
Okay, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. And again, that is one of the main things that we discussed, what I mentioned in the beginning, the purpose. Do we need to go openBIM or not? In this case, for this particular project, we said we will be staying with the vendor just because we can get all these level of detail, which IFC cannot give us. However, if we decided to go openBIM side, we could also get this similar level of detail with the openBIM side. So we could do it. But at this point, we are trying to stick with just because of the software render, just because there's a better integration between their softwares and the cloud and all those stuff, because the shop can simply go on this model and they can just see, like all this information from here, from their iPad, tablet, or software, whatever. So it's a seamless integration. So they don't need another software, which can practically cause some geometry issues.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
All right. So, and basically, apart from the render, this has also been 360 model. So there's 2 views of retraction and how it could be enclosed, where you can, obviously it takes a bit of time to load, just because there are so many components inside it. There are even screws inside it. So to get all this information. But if we go to 2D information area here, I can actually show you also from in Revit. So you can see all those drawing packages, including all the information for the shop to cut, to prepare, the package to install on site. Everything is prepared right away. So, and then the good thing is that we can do this so fast because we have been building all these parametric, logical, and the right supply chain, right workflow. So we know exactly what kind of amendments that can be done. So if we need angle to be changed, we can change angles of the roof. We can increase the size, the length, the height. We can increase, we can say, for example, the anvil. Sometimes we use different trims. We can change different trims, just check in, check out. There are lots of things that go into the process, but it's so fast because we have been preparing exact workflow. So if I go back to the Revit model, so I will be able to show you here, right there. So here I will be able to show you, for example, the level of detail we're going. You can even get all the location points for the keys, and then all the schedules for the particular cuts that you need to do, and everything, basically from BIMs to end caps to the glazing. So it's part of, if you think about it, it's a curtain wall or curtain system. So you have all the information from the glass spacers, the connectors, the face seals, and all this information. Obviously, some of them is not existing in this project, so that's why we numbered them differently. So most probably this is existing there and these are non-existing. So in order to renumber things, we didn't want to lose those sheets just in case if they kick in back to the project. So and then we do have also like anvil, for example, old connectors. Look at the anvil. Okay, so we don't have the 2 anvils because we could combine them in 1 sheet. Depending on the project size, sometimes we need 2 sheets, so that's why we are trying to split it as much as possible, but at the same time not to have too many sheets because they need to print and some of them, so to have enough information in particular sheet. Yeah, I mean, it's really detailed. This, I mean, it's incredible that how much this would take you from the traditional workflows, and they weren't actually going that level of detail because it was impossible and it was taking so long to get information. But now they can get this kind of information because it's so quick and it's taking even much less time than they were traditionally doing, much less output. And even we can get the cut glazing sheet, so we can stock elements, how much the glazing will be generated, cut and placed, so we can save a lot of glazing area, and then even the bill of materials, the entire BOM, what needs to be ordered right from the beginning of the project. All right. So basically, coming back to the next to the presentation. So this was about the manufacturing level, and the next thing that I would like to discuss is very important because we need to understand the supply chain. We wouldn't be able to achieve this kind of workflow if we didn't have high level and a detailed. Obviously, I didn't put the detailed here because it is very long and it would have taken a lot of time for me to cut them in place in multiple locations and connect them. But the idea is that we have a very detailed supply chain method and we know exactly when the change comes in, when we update few materials. In the Endscape, if I go back to the Endscape, if I go back to here, for example, you can see two lengths information, which I know that it's a bit of confusing at this point, but we are making sure that the shop doesn't get this information unless they just click over here and they see the bolt information, which they know that this is not existing. We already communicated this efficiently with them. But the idea is that we are upgrading certain things in the system. So we have a workflow. So we know that how smoothly we can upgrade them, and that's inside the supply chain method. So we know that we need to upgrade certain things because obviously products are improving, the designs are improving, we get a new design, constraints and so forth, and then we are integrating those new things into the model so it can get more information more efficiently. The next thing I would like to talk about is something connected, but it's a little bit more interesting, I would say. It is about 4D and construction timeline. How are we following it and how are we doing it? Again, one of the main things, the purpose, and this time I will be telling you again, but the purpose was creating assembly and construction simulation to be a manual. Manual, what do I mean by manual? We want to send this to the site supervisor. It depends, obviously, how the assembly is done. If it's done by a subcontractor or someone else, we want to send it as a manual so they can actually see like, as if you are getting something from the IKEA and you know how to put things up because they have a manual. They say, do this one first, do this one second, and do this one third. And you need so many of tools, you need so many of screws, you need so many of people, and then you can assemble this together. It's something similar. And then there is another part of it, which if we are assembling it ourselves. So the contractor assembles it himself. So when they do it themselves, obviously there's a different approach as well. So we had to have two different approaches, the two different manuals, one for them specifically, which didn't have to include so much details, but to be to the purpose that they can do it very efficiently. They can see how much it will take. And if everything is right, if the site constraints are good and all this stuff. And the other is more about explaining how it would work. But every project is different. So how do we do it? What we did is basically we did a certain part of the animation. We did it in a way that it is repeatable. So it can be used in multiple projects of the same type. And then we used other parts of the project that is repeatable. So this was just an overall, obviously if I open the video, the real video that we have, it's in our YouTube channel as well. If people want to, if anyone wants to watch the full video. But if I open the video here, we even show the screws, for example, here. So even the screws and all the nuts and bolts, everything. We show all the hardware and the components. So this is not a manual that we are delivering to the client or the subcontractor, but this was just to showcase what we are capable of delivering. So theirs is more oriented to the like a manual. They can guide like step by step how they can put things together much easier. And one other thing we had an issue is that when we hire a subcontractor, when they see all this documentation, like if I just literally scroll through the pages like this, all this documentation, they say, oh, what is this project? Oh my God, it's so complicated, you know? And this is like the cover sheet. They say, oh, this is so much work. And when we send the video after that, I mean, like the manual, and they were like, okay, it's clear now. We have this many people, this many things, and the risk went down and the price significantly went down. And was like, we were able to save so much cost, and which is bring return of investment immediately from the first manual. And we would be able to reuse that material a lot of the time. So it was just a very good decision for us to move this direction. All right. And the last project that I'd like to discuss for you is an interesting one as well, because this is located in LA, California. And I would like to say that we will be also taking this one into 4D. So we will be able to do construction animation for that, because we are working with the general contractor, who is the owner of the building as well. The thing is that we will use subcontractors to assemble all these. So he's a general contractor, and we will have individual trades to assemble all this building together. And what we will do is we will do the 4D of that. So we already have the 3D model. We are doing the final QA and final bits and pieces, and collaborating with the architect, engineer, and MEP manager of the clashes of the issues. Once we have all these sorted, we will be doing the trade packages and with the 4D information for them. And then this will significantly reduce the risks for the subcontractors, which will bring the cost to the right point for the general contractor. Also, there's one important thing here. We will be doing entire the contract. Obviously, they have their own like standard contracts in US, but we will be also putting BIM clauses inside. The reason is that we will be able to deliver IFC model of these, so which you asked for before, like how it will work with the IFC. This model will work very well with the IFC, so we will be delivering the IFC version of this model to the subcontractors to have an open tender, so they can bid for it. They can take the model, they can run through their cost simulation or cost software and the scheduling software, so they can see exactly how long it will take and what it will be the cost, and they can give us the right price for it. So we are trying to reduce the risk significantly in order to get the right cost for the contractor. All right. So if I want to go to the, if I can also demonstrate that project as well, just to give you like level of development and detail involved in that project. So if I close these, because I have opened a lot of sheets here, so maybe I need to go to 3D. This is the one. Yeah. So I can go on the visualization of the project.
Did you model
In the meantime,
this?
I can, yeah. Yes, our team modeled it.
Okay. It was modeled manually, or did you use Grasshopper or a Dynamo? Sorry.
Okay, so that's a very good question. We use some plugins. That's correct. We use some plugins, not Dynamo necessarily, but some plugins that will helped us to do things much faster than we actually do manually. But obviously, we coordinated all the information delivered by the architect. So architect tried to deliver as little as information as possible. We were putting all the information for them into the BIM model. Engineer the same way, and the mechanical engineer the same way. So they were putting their designs in, and we were like putting their drawings together. And in the end, we are bringing the drawings at a certain level that they are satisfied in. So we could get literally the stamp from them directly on those drawings. So that was a very efficient as well approach. But yeah, we use some plugins for them. So obviously there are some issues that we have, like this over here. The pipe they have drawn was like it was not fitting on the floor, so we put it on purpose or outside, so we to cover those issues. So there are some QA stuff that we are running right now, and this model obviously after the tender and after construction, this will be asset model. So they will be keeping this model and they will be renting all the units for quite long term. So yeah, they will keep it as an asset. So we want to manage all the information right there.
Yeah, looks very nice.
I can take all the questions.
You can take all the questions.
Yes.
Well, I asked you during the interview, what are your plans from now on?
So that's a very good point. Again, this was like they were deciding to move this one a bit higher up, and it was like because they didn't provide the information in the CAD properly. So obviously mistakes happen. So our aim thing was like, hey, if we put it like that height, this is the clash we're getting. So I mean, like you need to correct your design decision. So I'm closing this. Our goals is we are growing currently, so that's a very good sign for us. We are really integrated BIM is really growing, getting a lot of projects now, a lot of recognition. So that's really good sign that we are delivering high quality project. We have a lot of long term collaboration with some clients. We have been working for the last 3 years since the launch of the company. With some of them, I was working as an individual freelancer, and then when I launched the company, we were working as a company with them, and this was like over 5 years. So yeah, I mean, we are doing a lot of work. I think what we are going to do is the integrated BIM. I want to, take it to the next level. Most probably put some solutions in the market as well, our own solutions that we are facing with. Sometimes we are not able to find the right solutions, especially for manufacturing stuff. And we wanted to try to do not to base it on vendor, because vendors we never know. The market after 10 years can go down, and now it's one vendor is very dominant, but after 10 years that vendor might not be any dominant, so we don't want to depend on that vendor. So that's why I think openBIM, I really support openBIM. I think we need to go that direction. So our primary thing right now, we are doing the consultation work. We will keep doing it because we are doing a great job there. So we are also did another company, as I said, AC Influence. We really want that company to grow as well. So I will be next year, by 2022, end of 2022. I think we will be really it will be self-dependent company and running on its own with less input from me. I think that's what I'm envisaging there as well.
Nice, big plans. Good luck with
Yeah.
that. I had no doubt you'll get where you want to get.
Thank you very much. So that's why, obviously, one of the things that we want to do is the YouTube channel to educate people, to showcase our expertise, to share knowledge. So that was one of the things, and I'm glad that there are more and more channels coming into the on board. Like, for example, you're inviting multiple guests, and you're trying to deliver value to the viewers by watching individual episodes, but how these individual people have different expertise, and those expertise how they can take something from those expertise, right? So those talks. So I think you will also have more and more viewers with time, because these are valuable information.
Thank you. I hope so. If you can go to your presentation, please. I have a question regarding the. You have a schema there, a diagram, some diagrams here.
This
No.
one?
Yeah, here. You're talking about this workflow. Have you used Plannerly on this project? Do you see?
Yes, obviously
Okay,
that's a good point. So we actually have a Plannerly here open for you. So we do have Plannerly all the issues that we are facing, where we are facing the the dimension issues, and we cannot fit those standards. Actually, it's not for issue management, but
no, of course.
we are doing trying to collaborate with it. So the only thing we are lacking is, for example, with the issue management software, if there was a direct link with the Plannerly, that would have been amazing. So we don't have to use hundreds of other tools all around. It's very difficult also for our stakeholders to collaborate with us, because if we use, I'm just giving example, 10 products, they also have to use 10 products to collaborate with us and to get most benefit, and that's very difficult. So
I was thinking the same. That should be possible because, like for example, BIMCollab has integrations with softwares like VREX, which is a virtual reality software. So I think should be possible to build a bridge between these two tools, or BIMtrack or other tools. But yeah, I'm most known with BIMCollab, so that's why I'm mentioning them. And I was thinking the same way, because in a way you do much of the same thing, like you write about issues and such, right? So in a way you do double work, but at the same time you have things that don't overlap each other. Like BIM Collab does its thing, like coordinating between all the designers, between disciplines, and between different softwares, and primarily has the documentation, right? The BIM execution plan and all the other documentations that you can marry these both worlds into something that can have a huge potential. Yes.
Absolutely. I think you're right, and you have a very good point there. And one of the most important things is that we need more software, like, for example, Zapier or else Slack or else similar software, where you can have a lot of integrations, loads of integrations. So why people choose Slack? Because they love the integrations. They want to, whatever they say from the email, they can just put it quickly in the Slack chat. They can get something, they can put it in the Slack chat. They can even connect Dynamo with the Slack. You know, if you get issues and you just all notifications will go to the Slack. Or Zapier, for example, some automations. If you do this, you will get this. How you just put the rules there. So I think that is very important. For example, if there are tools like this in the industry that are efficient, we can use them to combine even multiple software products. So even though they don't have direct integrations, they can all have with one integration, one product or few products that are like a lot of integrations. So we can combine everything to there. So that's also another possibility.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good startup idea. Maybe I'll start working on that. There is no product,
there are
right?
few organizations. There are few organizations doing that.
Okay, and what products? Why don't you use it then?
I mean, the thing is that I didn't have time to actually explore that because it was like so much work we are getting in. I'm not complaining on that. Obviously, this is good. So obviously, so now I'm building a specific part of the department that are doing constantly research and development because there are so many tools coming in, so many startups coming in, and yeah, and we need to all the time learn and keep up to date with all the software products. So it's difficult, you know, like I know that it's good to have a lot of options, but it's difficult also to manage all the knowledge. I mean, we have one diagram. I mean, I think we have over 100 software that are useful, like primary software. I'm talking about primary software in the industry to use. So it's crazy.
There is an overflow of information, and now the challenge is not that we don't have information, we have too much, and we need to be smart how we filter this and how to it's very important to know how to pick the right information, and there is a risk in that, right? The right tools. Well, I think we're good here. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very nice, and I am on the same page with a lot of what you have shown me here. And we need to keep this fight going on until we will get this industry more productive and more progressive.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm always mentioning is that people do not really understand the basics of BIM. And that is the main thing. And we are not getting them to learn more about it. They get few sentences from our internet and they think they understand BIM. But it is so difficult to explain the real value proposition. So that is the main difficulty we are getting. But like one of the talks that we had, for example, with Jonathan Ingram in our BIM talks by Integrated BIM, and we were talking about retail information modeling. And they were saying we are able to sell this easily to the retail market because we immediately tell about the cost, we immediately tell about the profits they are going to make, margins, all this stuff right from the beginning. They understand much more easily, and we could sell it very fast. And one of the things that we are spending in the BIM industry, I think the problem is we are spending so much time with pitching to people to pull them towards BIM. But instead, they should actually come towards BIM, and we should spend those energy on giving them most benefits. So that is, I think, one of the things that in the industry should change in the future years. So yeah, I mean, I think it's changing slightly, slowly, and especially with the pandemic. Obviously, I know it's a very bad situation and so forth. But I think on somewhat, obviously, I'm trying to look all the time from the positive side of the things. So I think it helped somehow the construction industry to digitalize further because people were aware now. Okay, what happens if we are not sitting next to each other and asking all the time questions, how we can communicate more efficiently, and how we can collaborate much, much more productively.
Well, as you said, it's an unfortunate situation, but it has not been only a small progress. It's been a huge jump, if you ask me. Like, I think it has a tremendous impact, this. It pushes us much, much further out of our comfort zone, and it forced us to work in new ways, more effective ways. And I'm not saying that because just I think it's cool. I discussed with people from different companies, from consultants, but mostly from contractors, because they're like, as consultants, maybe it's easier to work digitally, right? But with the contractors, it's not so easy. Like, you need to be on site, so it's a bigger challenge. So there has been a huge step up, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. So I think it was touching to the old industry to digitalize. Even contractors now start digitalizing themselves and trying to collaborate everything and trying to go to the point. So they don't try to waste time now on site. They are trying to, because if they have less opportunity to go site and it's more difficult for them to reach there, they would want to finish more things beforehand. So that's also, I agree with you. I think that's a good point from the contractor point of view.
Yeah. How can people reach to you? You mentioned in the beginning, but let's repeat that at the end as well.
Okay, so if people simply write integrated BIM in YouTube, they will be able to see those, see our, channel. And then we have all the links there. But our website is integratedbim.com. So basically, it's integratedbim.com directly. And in LinkedIn, if they want to reach me personally, so directly, they can also write the linkedin.com and Hasan Umer. And yeah, so I will be happy to accept and collaborate, share information, definitely. So I would like to connect more and more like-minded people because I think sharing is caring. So I'm very active there, trying to share as much as I can to showcase, demonstrate what's going on in the industry. Even we are doing next week BIM News. This is the first episode that we are going to do in integrated BIM. It's a new idea, actually. We never talked this one. I know it's from time to time we are talking each other and bouncing ideas. But this idea came about in our last team meeting we had with our internal team. And this BIM News is going to be because the problem is that there's so much information going, right? We just discussed this. There's so many things going on, and you don't have the time to review all this stuff. And I was thinking, we're discussing with the team, how we can really bring and make it easy for the people. So we decided to use BIM News episodes, so where we will be covering the most trending BIM news that there are in industry going on at that point. So there will be live. There will be questions coming in, and we will be having some, discussions on these, whether it's a good impact or bad impact, or some, personal knowledge, experience and so forth. So this will be, I think, very beneficial for audience who are seeking further knowledge. And sometimes if you're busy, you can get all the information within half an hour or 40 minutes right away.
Yeah, I understand. I know. I did some. I used to do some live stream in January and February, and some of my episodes I just went over news. So it's definitely something cool. And especially if you do I would focus to make them as compact as possible. If you want, I'm not giving you advice, but some tips, maybe, if you can call it. Make it as compact as possible, because our time is the most valuable resource, right? And it's important to spend it wisely.
Absolutely. And that's what we are thinking to cover, because there are lots of news. So right now we have so many things to cover. So the problem I'm seeing it now, how I'm going to deliver it, if there will be a presentation, but it will take so much time as well. So, or else are we going to put the links and then opening the link by link and showing few information? I think that's how we are going to do for the beginning, and seeing how it goes. We might also do some presentations, but you're right. So I think we should, I will be running all the information obviously in advance and knowing what I'm talking, and I will be getting all the points right away to the audience. So we don't have to, search for information for 10 minutes and the actual live talk is 40 minutes or 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, Hasan. Thank you very much for coming along. Good luck with all your projects, and we stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting. It was a pleasure, and I hope it was beneficial to the audience. Take care.
I'm sure it's going to be very useful. Thank you. You too.
Thanks.